What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. Today let's talk about something I call the middle chest myth. Can you influence or have an impact on preferentially the inner portion of the pec when you're training your pecs? Right? The big myth here is, guys, that you can't. See, I'm an actual believer that you can. If you don't believe me, let's try a quick demo together. Grab some sort of a band or even use your own arm against your own resistance, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our arm through the function of the pec. We're going to get it out in front of us as if the end of a pec press, and then we're going to horizontally adduct and bring it across our body. Now, what accounts for the fact that I can be in a contracted position? So for those that say it's all or none contraction, I am in a contracted pec position here. Okay? But as I continue and continue and continue, you can see there's more and more fibers. Literally, you can feel the wave if you do this yourself. I'm out here in front. I'm across in adduction. You can see the arm is in front of my body. But yet as I continue and continue and continue, you can literally see the wave of contraction increase here across my chest. So what accounts for that? Well, let's take a look at the anatomy. As we take a look inside, again, the function there, guys, is we know that the pectoralis major is going to take our upper arm, our humerus, and drag it and bring it across our body because of the orientation of the fibers. You can see here as I demonstrate on Raymond. But now let's come back out and see what's really going on, and it's all about the fibers, and more importantly, the fiber type. So you'll see, as we showed on Raymond there, you've got your fibers that go from the sternum here. This would be our inner chest that we're mostly concerned about. Our sternum attaching to an area up here on our humerus. Okay? So all of them run in this direction. What you don't see is that not every single muscle fiber, this is the key point, connects from an attachment, an origin attachment. Okay? It doesn't have a tendon, a belly, and a tendon attachment. There's something called non-spanning muscle fibers. And they don't just exist here in the pecs, but this is a great example of why we need to look a little bit deeper sometimes to understand why things actually occur, or more so, why things occur that we already know occur. Because if you try that demonstration already, you know that you can feel an increased contraction on the inside portion of your pec, but some people will just swear to you that there's no such thing, that you can only look at the upper and lower, but you can't have an influence on the inner. That's not right, because these non-spanning fibers, guys, actually sit in and reside inside, again, the muscle belly, and they taper off and they actually die into the belly here. So you got to let that actually stay right there. Well, guess what? If it's not attached to another tendon on the other side, how the hell are these actually contracting and contributing to the force? The way that happens, guys, is the fact that these fibers get pulled along for the ride as the motion occurs at the joint here, in the shoulder joint, as the motion occurs and brings the arm across the chest. Because what happens is each one of these non-spanning fibers is surrounded, okay, surrounded by a muscle sheath that is very sticky on its surface. Okay, there's different proteins on the surface that actually make it somewhat sticky, so that when these long spanning fibers contract and pull down and come through, they actually grab hold of these non-spanning fibers, which then can contribute to the force. See, a lot of people are under misunderstanding that all force is generated through a myotendinous element, like the myo is the muscle portion and the tendinous origin insertion. That's not true. We have a lot of connective tissue from our myofascia that's around the muscles to then these inner sheaths, this endomyosin here that's inside around these smaller muscles, fibers themselves. They will contribute to the force as well. So again, you're pulling them along for the ride. Let me show you another demonstration of exactly how this works. Alright, guys, so let's do a quick demonstration. What I have here is a piece of tape. Okay, this tape is going to be our spanning fibers, the ones that go from our arm over here all the way to our sternum on the inside of the chest. Okay, so what you're looking at now is the non-spanning fibers that sort of just sit around on the inside of the muscle belly itself. As this thing contracts, so we're going to contract it, we're going to take it from the outside of the arm, and as we cross here across the body and pull ourselves into that adduction across our chest, you'll see that it's contracting, contracting, contracting. It's picking up these muscle fibers as we go. Okay? You're seeing that it's grabbing these fibers as it goes, and it's involving them now in the contraction. They can contribute to the overall force. In the beginning, they weren't doing anything. They were just sort of sitting around here until the contraction became large enough to pick them up and bring them along for the ride. So it's another added support for actually taking your exercises through a full range of motion, but on top of that, it's actually adding a lot more force and overall a lot more strength to every exercise that you do. So you see, it's this additive effect that allows these non-spanning fibers to actually start contributing. The further and further into contraction that you go, the more and more of them that become involved and sort of dragged into the action. And that's what's going to allow us to increase the contractile force and increase our ability to influence fibers that we never thought we had influence on before. Matter of fact, these fibers contribute so much to the overall strength and development that when they do things like fasciotomies and they actually take the fascia off of a muscle, even that alone on the outer level dramatically decreases the strength that can be produced by the muscle itself. So we know in science that this happens. We just have to make sure that we're not listening to all the bro science out there that says, guys, you can't target your inner chest. The only thing you can do is upper and lower. It's the same reason why in other exercises I've shown you guys, you can see, you can feel the difference as you actually execute the moves. Here I'm showing you what we've got, you guys have named the Cavalier crossover, right? This is where we drag the arm up into a shrug, but also an adduction at the same time, where you can clearly see the innervation, the activation of the upper and inner chest. The same thing with our 3D crossover here. You guys have seen this plenty of times now. Again, as I get across the body and then further into rotation, I can actually elicit a stronger and stronger contraction. And yet again, you can see the influence that it has on these inner chest fibers as I'm able to activate them even more. Right? And an old classic one, our X crossover, again, one more time, showing that added activation of the inner chest as we continue to bring the arm through a greater range of motion because we're picking up more and more of these non-spanning fibers. So you guys see, we have our t-shirts, right? It's physics, bitch. We talk about it all the time. In this case, it's anatomy, bitch. We know that if you apply the sciences, whether it be anatomy, whether it be physics, okay, whatever it is, if you start putting the science back in strength, you're going to see that a lot of that bro science will go away. And I think it's time that we start to do that, especially if you want to take your training to the next level, guys. We talk about it all the time. If you want to look like an athlete, you got to train like an athlete. But more importantly, you got to put the same thought and intention behind what you do that an athlete would, because this is what they do for a living. I'm not saying you have to spend all the time that an athlete does in preparing to play a sport, but you have to start approaching your training with the same level of seriousness if you want to start to see those next level results. Guys, you can do that if you head over to ATHLEAN-X.com. We've put together a training program already. A 90-day system, the ATHLEAN-X training system, putting the science back in strength, of course, but training you like an athlete along the way so you can get the most out of each and every one of your workouts. If you haven't already, guys, head to ATHLEAN-X.com and grab that training program. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, guys, make sure you leave a thumbs up below and a comment. Let me know if you'd like to see some of these more in-depth videos from time to time as we look inside to see what's actually going on so we understand better what's going on in the gym on the outside. I'll see you guys back here in just a few days.